Welcome to Women Disrupting Tech. My name is Dirk Jan Upkes, and on this podcast I give the women who work in tech the platform they need to inspire and empower each other. Join me on a journey into the world of entrepreneurship, funding, biases and role models to discover the strategies for success in the tech industry. In other words, how women can disrupt tech. Are you ready to listen? Hey, welcome back to Women Disrupting Tech, and thank you for tuning in to episode 118. Do you feel that we live in a world that seems like it's designed around the pace of technology, not of humanity? It's something to think about as you listen to my conversation with Anouk Vlietman. Anouk is the founder of UMAIN, a platform that helps women build clarity, confidence, and connection in a fast-changing world. Anouk believes that as AI takes over routine tasks, our true advantage lies in what makes us human. And in this episode, we talk about why that human edge matters. By listening, you'll learn how putting humanity first can ease the rush and reduce disconnection, why disconnection carries not only personal costs, but also political, economic, and cultural ones, and how listening, empathy, and curiosity are becoming skills that define the future of work. This is a totally different conversation from the ones that you're used to hearing on this platform, and I think it's one worth listening to. Anouk and I go deep on mindset, limiting beliefs, and share deep personal stories to connect. So when you're ready to listen and learn how AI can make us more human, please welcome to Women Disrupting Tech, Anouk Vlietman. Anouk Vlietman, good morning. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a privilege to have you. I was wondering, how did you land at UMAIN? And do I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you do pronounce that correctly. It's humane, so it's partially about being human,
Hmm.
and you as the main character in being inside of humanity.
Okay.
Well, how this happened, actually, we just started a month ago.
Hmm.
And um, what we do is that we help women listen to themselves and others with the purpose of improving their connection with themselves and with others
Hmm.
so they can handle changes in any environment. And I say in any environment because, as you're also hosting a tech podcast,
Hmm.
you know about the tech driven world that we're in. It's very fast paced. And even so, I think we have reached a point where it's changing faster than humans actually have capacity for the process. So we have technological developments that have always existed. We've always wanted efficiency and profit and productivity and more, 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 more. But we have forgotten, even though that's amazing how we can evolve, we're not robots. And currently, I think we're designing life based on the pace of tech instead of um, from a place of humanity. And people are feeling rushed. There are mental health issues, there's a loneliness epidemic.
Hmm.
And I think what you see is that people are longing for connection, and that's how um, I started UMAIN as yeah, that would kind of intrigue me to start with this. And I think this societal longing that I've pictured is something I felt happening around me,
Hmm.
bringing me to why I'm actually doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And one of the most valuable things in my life is connection. I think it's something that I've craved ever since I was a little girl. I was always talking to strangers and lots of laughter.
Hmm.
When I was 16, I desperately wanted to understand myself, which I think a lot of teenagers have, but um, it was very important for me. And I've always been curious to other people's stories. And then when I was traveling in Southeast Asia, I discovered that a lot of people told me their traumas quickly, or their love affairs, or
Hmm.
their guilty pleasure snack, and then thanked me and other people with the same ability for really taking the time to hear and see them. which made me realize that this craving that I have for connection is actually rare enough to thank another person for.
Yeah. Is it about mattering to yourself, but also to others?
Yeah, I think it's a fundamental craving that you have as humans to be seen. I think you only feel completely human and connected when you are heard and seen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you have a sort of feel on how you actually got people to talk, what that took, or how you managed to do that? Was that pure curiosity, for instance, or?
I think you're nailing curiosity there, definitely. It was funny. I was at this work event a couple of days ago. It was a workshop, and it was talking about being yourself, like completely, um, like without any doubt, being yourself. And one of the exercises was that a stranger had to look at you and say what they think of you in terms of your qualities, if as in being yourself. And somebody said, "Well, I think you're very open, you're very curious, you look positive." So I think that's already apparently something that I give as an energy to people. And then communicating, um, I'm very curious. So I ask questions. I want to learn about your experience. I think what you say as a perspective does not necessarily mean that we speak the same language, right? When you say it's important to be positive, that could mean something else to me. We never truly really understand each other, and that deep sense of wanting to do that really helps. And I think I joke a lot,
Yeah.
so it doesn't feel like we're actually having this crazy mental psychological conversation, but we're just having fun, and in between the fun, you tell me about your trauma.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you put a little, let's say, a touch of lightness into
Yeah.
the conversation. That's and from my observation, I've never seen you. We've met a couple of times. I've never seen you not smile.
Yeah, well,
Literally,
I'm smiling. You can't see, but
and
yeah.
it's yeah, and indeed you can see in this case, but I've never seen you not smile. I think that is also, yeah, the Dutch word for that is ontwapenend, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the English word is. So if you're listening to this and you're uh, not Dutch, then you have to Google translate this probably,
Or learn Dutch quickly, yes.
or learn Dutch really quickly with Duolingo or maybe Jungle the Bungle or
Yeah,
another app.
I'm
Anyway,
not sure if that word is gonna be on Duolingo, but yes.
yeah, you'll be surprised though. Anyway, um, I also read somewhere that you are rebelling against limiting beliefs. So there's two layers to this conversation, I guess. One is connection, and deep connection and human connection, and the other one is limiting beliefs. And I was wondering why fighting limiting beliefs is so important, and how that ties in to the connection part.
I think for a very long time, I have not believed in myself. I'm gonna use this as an example.
Uh-huh.
But intuitively, I always knew there was a lot of potential inside of me, but I'm not reaching it. I'm keeping myself small. And that feeling of not thinking you are worth the investment is really painful, because it's like you have this voice living in your head rent free that tells you literally, why would you even try? You're going to fail anyways. Or no matter how hard you try, you will never be successful. That's putting yourself up for failure. You can never win, but you desperately want to play the game. And when I was younger, it made me feel very um, depressed. And it's definitely something that's making a lot of people sad for no reason, because you don't necessarily have proof that it's true, right? And once you learn what's something that's make you sad, and I don't really mean like the chocolate sprinklers were finished in the morning and now I have to eat cheese on my bread kind of sad, which is also very Dutch if you're listening.
Yeah.
You can also go into depth, and if you grab connection to that, connection is shaped in sharing joy and suffering. And it gives the opportunity for somebody to say, I see you and I'm here for you. So it's really important that we talk with each other about those um,
Limiting
limiting
belief.
beliefs. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a way, connection is a way to get over the limiting beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what the beauty is about connection is that once you feel like you're connected with somebody
Hmm.
and somebody actually says, I see you, I'm here for you, you feel so much stronger to go on that journey for yourself again. And I think that's why connection is so important. And coming back to those limiting beliefs, I think what limiting beliefs do is that 9 out of 10 times they are based on something that's not necessarily true, but it will always limit you in enjoying what is your dream.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah.
any limiting beliefs?
Many. I'm trying to break them even at 52 years old. I'm trying to break them one by one. I actually
Mhm.
was listening to a podcast. I'm still listening to that podcast episode of Huberman Lab at the moment. It's about doing hard things. And one of the powerful insights I got is like if you do hard things, you start to wonder if you manage to do them. Um, where else you've been selling yourself short, which is a way to identify those limiting beliefs as well. So I have a limiting belief that I'm not good on video,
Mm.
so I don't do video. So yesterday I taped a video.
Oh, congrats for you. That's great.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Well, the interesting thing is I've done video before, so I know I can do it. I just have to set my mind to it. So it wasn't actually, let's say it wasn't a hard thing, but there's still this limiting belief that I cannot do video, or that not that I cannot do it, but that I cannot do it well. But the bigger one there is to me is that I for a long time I didn't feel that I mattered to people, and getting over that is has been a journey of like 20 years, 30 years probably, to really find a way to find my own identity. So who am I really? Sounds strange for a guy of my age, but I'm just starting to
Not at all.
discover that sort of as part of this journey, who I really am. And yeah, so that way I'm also breaking down the narrative inside my head that I don't matter. I'm
Mhm.
just I've at some point I decided to fight it head on. Yeah,
What was the moment that, because you say it's been 20 years, right?
yeah.
What was the moment that you said, I'm this is it, it clicked. I need to adjust.
Oh, that there's a couple of moments. One was the sickness of my girlfriend. So she had gastric cancer. She survived that,
Mm,
but at that point I started to wonder, hey, so if I have that needle with chemotherapy in my arm, what am I going to tell the nurse or the person sitting beside me? And then a few years later, a coach took me into an hypnotic dream with consent, by the way. And he asked me to picture my own funeral,
yeah.
and that room was empty. And that was the moment that I was like, okay, I'm on the wrong path. I need to do something, and I need to change. I need to do something radically different from what I'm doing right now, because if
Mhm.
I continue like this, that room is going to stay empty. And I don't want that room to be empty. I want to have had a positive impact on people. So
That
that
sounds
was,
beautiful.
yeah,
It sounds like you took accountability as well for it,
yeah,
because it's still your own responsibility, right? To fight those limiting beliefs, even though that they might have evolved because of family or environment or experiences that you've had. It's still, at the end of the day, well, your problem,
Yeah.
right?
And it's yours to solve.
And it's yours to solve. Yeah, definitely. It's beautiful that you did that, by the way.
Yeah, I'm happy I did that because I recently did sort of something similar, but then with not with hypnosis, but
Mhm.
with one of these shamanic journeys.
Yes.
They can take this one took like 15 minutes or so, and I wanted to go back to that same funeral home to see what would happen now, and
Mm, you did?
yeah, and I actually managed to see a bit more people there. So I was like, okay, I'm slowly getting to where I want to be.
Oh wow, that's giving me chills.
Yeah.
I like this. Well, for a lot of people, it might be a bit hippie, but um, I think it's a beautiful introspective journey that
Well,
you've made.
yeah, I think that's part of the limiting beliefs that many people have and that I used to have
Yeah.
as well. Like this is woke in a wrong way. Um, and it taught me that things like healings and shamanic journeys and meditation have a place in our lives to yeah, this is gonna sound really eerie, but to help clean the mind
Mhm.
and also to project forward your own journey, but also to see where you are, to take stock of where you are in your life.
Did you also have that feeling when you first started towards, say, Western help in terms of medication and psychologists?
I never used that to be honest, so I can't tell you
So you
anything.
immediately went into the woo-ha for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I skipped the whole
Yes.
psychological the psychobabble as it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
I went straight to the hardcore things. Yeah. Hey, I was wondering, you've been on this planet for 10,000, bit over 10,000 days already. Um, so, what are trends that you have observed with regards to people taking psychological help, medication, or going straight to the
To the
hardcore
woo-ha.
medic?
Yeah. Well, first, love that you mentioned 10,000 days.
Yeah,
People who listen think, what the hell does that mean? So I'm going to tell very quickly, if you're unfamiliar with the concept, what it is.
yeah,
Recently celebrated my 10,000 days on this earth, which
hmm,
makes you just about 27 and a half something.
yeah.
And I had drinks with friends and even got gifts. So
Oh,
I highly recommend you doing it. Maybe not
yeah,
your 10,000 days, but your 20,000 days are coming.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I did that. But coming back to the trend, I think the biggest one that I keep seeing in my life,
hmm,
um, also in my work and conversations, is that we have this growing longing for connection.
yeah,
And that I don't mean a digital connection where we give likes and comments to each other, but like real eye contact and laugh until you snort kind of, I remember your name at an event kind of connection.
yeah,
We have lived in a world for decades that has glorified independence. So you need to be the solo entrepreneur, the self-made woman, the UDU era.
hmm,
And I want to be clear, I don't think independence is the enemy. I think it's great and powerful to have that feeling to stand on your own feet, right? You went through this psychological journey for yourself, and that has created the power for you to go against those limiting beliefs. So
hmm,
you need to be self reliant. But I think as a society, we've become hyper independent and think we have to do everything by ourselves.
Is that
And
also induced by technological developments, like especially social media and now AI, that we can actually do things ourselves?
just say this, you have a website right now that can make you reach the whole world. So you can do it technically
Yeah.
by yourself. Yes,
Yeah.
you can. And you have a platform such as LinkedIn where you can just by yourself let your voice be heard.
Hmm.
So I think it definitely has had its benefits, but also if you push it too far, you get people that feel entitled to keep telling their own story, but never tell it surrounded by other people. And therefore you're not in connection. So I definitely think that um yeah, it doesn't contribute to being connected altogether. But it's not just technical, I think, um, because this is a yeah, it's a whole silent epidemic that we've created that's called disconnection, that we're not really just in it because it's this emotional thing that's happened to us. I think it's also economically, it's political, um, it's cultural. There are so many
How is
depths
it?
to this.
Yeah, how
Mhm.
is it economical economical terms, that it's actually quote unquote good or supported?
So economically, disconnection costs countries in the European Union, I believe, around 32 billion euros a year. Because when you feel disconnected, you um, become lonely, and loneliness will get you to a loss of productivity. You're not going to work anymore. You call in sick. There are rising healthcare costs of that. I don't know the specific amount of money, but I think yours and my LinkedIn platform is filled with people who say that we need to invest in workplace well-being,
Yeah.
right? Because it's costing us so
Mm,
much money.
yeah.
And politically, I think it erodes trust. If you are disconnected, you feel cut off from each other because we're not talking anymore. From maybe opportunity that there are because you don't see them. You're not even in the field anymore. You feel like you don't belong anymore. And when I feel very lonely, I I disengage. I want to keep people at a distance because you're kind of in your own bubble. It's becoming scary to
Yeah.
contribute. So
Mm,
I think it leads towards distrusting each other and also polarizing. Definitely.
yeah. So then, am I hearing you say that loneliness is the real epidemic that we're having?
No, I think disconnection is the real epidemic that we're having, but it's the
Okay.
silent one that we're not talking about.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
talking to another guest a couple of weeks back, and she's solving for loneliness mostly, especially in elderly people, but also in veterans, in top sport related environments.
Mhm.
Because, and also, I guess, managers, top managers who feel really lonely because they have a limiting belief that nobody will understand what they're going through. And I was like, okay, maybe you should start talking about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, what I was going to say was that she mentioned that in the US, I don't have the ticket price in my head, but
Mm.
it was a really big number what it costs in monetary losses that we have so much loneliness because when you're lonely, not only do you not engage anymore, but you're also playing down all kinds of health related issues that you run into. You're much
Mhm.
more like, oh, it will be me, or I will get over it, and or nobody is going to believe me, and no, I don't need to.
Maybe not going to care even
Yeah,
is what they think.
yeah,
People are not going to care.
yeah,
That just saying that gives me a very sad feeling, right? I think the feeling that nobody cares for you is terrible, and it actually leads to induce health risks.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know the blue zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the blue zones
So,
are
but
the regions in the world where people have the most longevity,
Mhm.
and there is one common denominator that they have, and that's that they all have good relationships. They feel like they're part of a tribe. And there's also a research from Harvard, they've done it for, I think, around 85 years,
Mhm.
that says if you you will turn older when you have good relationships. And just those are just a few. Even at the funeral, if there are 5 people that have loved you with all of their hearts, that's
Mhm.
enough.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a stadium filled with people at your funeral, but you do need to have a few people that care about who you are and what you think and how you experience the world and how they can make you laugh and make you feel better.
Mhm. How do you get that connectivity to work in an because you talked about it, well, let's say we crave for connection, but
Yes,
at on the other hand, there's a lot of incentive to do everything ourselves.
um,
How do you balance that? Can you
that's a
balance
great
that?
question. I think balance is an illusion.
Please,
And
please elaborate.
yes, I will. If you're walking on a rope,
Yeah,
you will be balanced for a little bit, and when you practice a longer time, you will be balanced for a longer time. But you cannot stand on it forever. It's about balancing.
yeah. You will
And
fall
that
off at
you
some
will
point.
fall off. It's just the law of nature
Huh?
that we are getting into balance. It's the same thing with extremes, right? If you have a lot of right-winged politicians for a longer period, eventually it will shift to left in extremes because people want to go back to the middle. We're going to go back to balance.
Yeah,
And I think that's the same thing with being individual and looking at the collective. For a very long time, we have been, what I said, celebrating the individual, which is good. It is really good to do that. But I think it's personal to you if that's the way you want to live your life or not. If you feel lonely, if you feel like nobody sees you, if you feel like nobody hears you, if you feel like you have nobody to call or you're scared to show who you are, then I would say look to shift more to that collective. And if you think, oh, I'm so busy with other people, which I used to do, I have been focused on relationships all my life as a main priority. But at some point, my friends were getting great jobs or getting into that relationship and being really focused on that or improving in their studies. And I was just busy with managing my relationship, but not looking at what I needed. So I knew I had to go back more towards that balance.
yeah,
And that's something that's very personal.
yeah. How did that feel?
When
To
other people were processing and I wasn't
yeah,
making progress. Yeah. Very sad. Very sad because one of the reasons I'm doing what I do is because I want women to reach their full potential and handle change. Most of the times when you start a business that has such a social impact, you do that because you wanted to have somebody that did that for you. So yeah, it made me feel disconnected from them because even though I was trying to maintain that connection, they were moving on. So I felt disconnected because of that. And I felt disconnected from myself because I was not putting in the energy that I'm actually worth of putting in.
yeah. How did you discover this? And as a second question on the back of that, how did you start to solve it? Because so you're in this position where
Yeah,
you sort of feel alone, disconnected from your friends, your colleagues, and yourself. How do you get back to that middle? How do you get back into a space where they belong and where you belong?
that's a great question. Very reflective question. I was depressed when I was 21 because of everything that came together. And I lost a few good friends at that age as well because I was not myself anymore. And that made me realize that even though I'm desperately trying to manage myself and others, everything is going to shit.
Yeah.
It's not working.
No.
And I started this very long self-help journey, also the shelf-help journey. So, where you think that if you just read enough books or listen to enough podcasts, that eventually all of your problems will fade away, which was not true, unfortunately. And I think the moment I started opening up about it and having a dialogue with people, it started to shift.
So you
'Cause I
literally took your own advice to start connecting with people
Yes.
over what you are experiencing.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that yet, but I did. Yes. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
startup terms, it's called eating your own dog food, but or dog fooding, but
Well, then it was delicious dog food.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely did that. And I realized that when you open up, people open up to you as well. So all of a sudden, you're not alone in that pain, or even if you fail again, or will fail if you fall back into a pattern,
Mhm.
that people still say, okay, but I see you're putting in the effort. That's okay that you fail because you're human. You're allowed to.
Mhm.
And I'm giving you space because you are openly communicating with me about it. You're honest.
Yeah, so you're open, you're honest, and you're also taking some sort of accountability then.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for a long time, I thought that things would just at some point change.
Mhm.
But if for a longer time they don't, it's definitely, yeah, what we said, your own problem.
Yeah. And things don't, at least that's my experience.
They
Things
don't
don't,
magically
and
change.
it's
No.
not like you just wave a magic wand and like all problems are gone, because otherwise
Well, if we would
probably
have that magic wand, we would be very rich. Yes.
yeah, in numerous ways. By the way,
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
that there would be no wars like at some other places on this planet.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, you're working on a TEDx talk about AI making us more human, and that sort of sounds contradictory. But how can AI help us become more human, or become human again?
I'm happy that you say it sounds contradictory because that means it makes you curious.
Yeah.
So that's a good title. I can work with that. Um, I would say in a nutshell, we no longer need hard skills, or we do need hard skills, but not the manual ones,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And what leaves us then is having a lot of time to develop soft skills, because they are the ones that are going to be needed to work between the team's technological advancement
Hmm.
and ourselves.
Hmm.
Somebody is going to need to learn how to speak the language. You can think about um, people that have to be strategically thinking. So, is it ethical what we're doing?
Hmm.
Um, the routine tasks are being done, so we're going to have more intellectually challenging challenges for us as humans
Hmm.
to deal with, because AI can deal with a lot of the others. So, who's going to be the person that can translate and analyze it and use it into the right fitting?
Hmm.
Right? Who's going to have empathy and make sure teams are going to be connected still, are going to make sure that they feel like they belong in the workforce because work has been automated, tools have been automated. So soft skills are all of a sudden going to be so incredibly important to differentiate yourself in the future of work. And now, and that's what I think is amazing, consultancy agencies such as McKinsey and Gartner
Hmm.
are emphasizing the importance as soft skills as an economic advantage,
Hmm.
which implies that in our result driven society, now you can become more rich and more productive and more efficient, to speak our language,
Yeah.
that motivates us to invest in your soft skills, to actually become more human in your skills.
Yeah. Do we also need to change the narrative about around productivity and what we consider productive?
Ideally, yes.
Yeah,
Ideally, yes.
I'm just trying to create the whole picture here.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I agree with you. I think we should change um, how we talk about being productive.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I feel it doesn't matter that we shouldn't focus on saying productivity is not staying at work and doing all those extra hours or anything. I think we should stay away from that. Let's keep it that way, but talk the result driven society language. So soft skills are your economic advantage.
Hmm.
You can make more money because of that. You will be more productive because you're more human.
Hmm.
Because that's the way we've been talking for decades. You cannot just change how people talk. But I do think if you start by talking the language that's been used, that's where you start.
Yeah. So is it sort of back to the future in that sense? You're moving back in terms of like the world used to be really about just human connections and not
Hmm.
about productivity. But we're using productivity or productivity tool like AI to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the Back to the Future reference. Yeah. Um, I haven't seen that movie because I'm Gen Z, but I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we can use AI to as an accelerator for becoming more human, and at the same time as a tool that will make us more introspective. If you have an issue at work, and you've been working with ChatGPT for a while, you can actually say, "I have experienced XYZ at work.
Hmm.
You are my manager. I want to have this solution. How can we have this conversation based on how you know me? And give me advice on how you know me." That's how we can practice. It's insane. You can do anything with it. Um, so it can help us become more into, like, learn more about ourselves, become connected with ourselves, and because of the soft skills that it's enhancing, become more connected to each other. Yeah.
So the interesting thing I'm hearing you say, and I actually applied this on Saturday, is that by talking to AI, typing or talking or whatever, uh, we can actually learn about solutions that make our life easier and that also enhance how we connect and communicate with people.
Did you apply it? You said you applied it, right?
Yeah. No, I did a little chat with my friend ChatGPT.
Hmm.
I asked him. I just uh, f- prefaced it with, "Okay, so I'm in a contemplative mood," and then I asked the question like, "Okay, how do you think, given what you know from God knows how many chats we've had,
Hmm.
how do you look at this? How would you look at this?" And I got some interesting feedback. I have to say it was really solution oriented, so not necessarily focused on having the conversation there and having the conversation lead me to the solution. So it came up
Hmm.
straight up with solutions. So that if Sam Altman were listening, that is one thing you still have to solve for.
Or you can prompt it to say that, right?
Can you?
You can ask, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
What I do is prompting the chats that I have, saying, take a Socratic approach. So keep asking me questions so I come to the answer myself. And that's where I think we should be very alert with is if you look at people that write an essay
Hmm.
with ChatGPT, 83% of those students will not remember what they have written.
No, because they
When you
haven't
write
written it down themselves.
exactly. And 11% of the people that have written it themselves didn't remember, which is a massive gap, right? So it's very important that in this case, we don't just ask the question and get it delivered. Saying as a teacher, you shouldn't just say, okay, this is the answer to your test.
Uh-huh.
You say, oh, okay, so 1 + 1 is, how did you get there? How do you know that works?
Uh-huh.
Can we test it again? And that's the approach we should also have towards ChatGPT, and therefore learning about yourself.
Okay, so really asking follow-up questions
Yeah.
to lead yourself. I actually what I do on with ChatGPT is say okay, give me a text for let's say. I feed it with the transcript of this conversation, and then I ask, okay, so give me the highlights and tell me why you think these are highlights, which gives me a bit of feel like, oh, maybe if that's your definition of a highlight, that's not my definition, or maybe it is.
Mm,
I can actually tweak it a bit. So it gives me yeah, it's a trick I learned to really um, give it a bit of reflective power. Should we also use that same Socratic approach that you can put in a prompt also to ourselves towards tools like ChatGPT? Like keep asking questions, which is some
100,000%.
okay,
Obviously, at some point, if somebody keeps asking you questions, you get annoyed, right? At some
yeah,
point, the answer is just the answer, and you deal with it, and you can iterate after.
yeah,
But in your example, you're already showcasing how important it is to communicate, to be able to analyze if the answer is correct, if it matches what you desire, if it gives you the introspective insight that you were looking for.
uh-huh,
So definitely. But with that, um, something also very important is not just asking the right questions,
uh-huh.
but also actively listen to what you hear.
And that's summarizing also. So what I'm hearing you say is, or something along those lines, by the way.
Something along those lines. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just said, yes,
yeah.
yes. If you take one thing away from this podcast, is please actively listen to each other.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful way to connect. At least my own experience has been that if you do, that people feel like they matter because they feel heard, they feel understood. So it's if you want to really invest in a relationship, I think it's really important to do that for sure.
It's good that you mentioned that, because the ironic thing is that we think that when we're inside a conversation, we show that we listen because we respond,
Yeah.
which obviously keeps the conversation going, but not necessarily implies that somebody feels heard and seen.
No, that absolutely true. Um, I was doubting if I was going to mention this example. I'm going to do
Yeah,
it
I can see you
anyway.
laughing already.
I ran into this hilarious. Well, maybe it wasn't hilarious, but I thought it was hilarious anyway. There was this scene yesterday. So I'm getting coffee on Sunday morning, and I'm on my bike back. And at the end, at the beginning of the street, there's this couple quarreling, and the woman said something to the man along the lines of, "Okay, what is the bigger chance? The bigger chance of you uh, communicating effectively or me not listening? What is the bigger chance?" But then really, and I was like, okay, so this is a communication breakdown. But she was so apt in the way she said it, like, and he was
Yeah.
dumbfounded. Literally, he couldn't respond. So I
Yeah,
felt
because he knew the answer.
yeah. Um,
Yeah,
let
but
me leave
that's
that.
a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope they're still together. Yes.
Nah, I think so because the fact that it was clear that the woman was really frustrated, but being frustrated is also a way to show that you care about someone.
Yes. And showing that you're frustrated means you feel safe enough in the relationship to do so.
Yeah, out in the open.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for somebody else to talk about it in a podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's really important that you feel safe to express what you feel, like the full experience of your internal world, because that's the only way that we can connect. If I don't understand what's happening inside of you and you don't even know how to explain that to me or are scared to tell me,
Uh-huh.
finding a solution is difficult.
Yeah. Is that something that your parents taught you?
Showing all your emotions.
Yeah, or and also being open and human oriented. Is that something you got from your upbringing?
Two sides to this question. Yes, being human oriented for sure. Friends of my parents are more uncles and aunts to me sometimes than some of other family members, right? They feel more like family. And when we're outside, my dad and I, we always talk to strangers, always. Even to the extent that my mom and my sister think it's annoying that we talk to other people besides of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. I think my parents are incredibly social people. They are fun. They're joyous to be around. They're caring. They're warm. They're open. All my friends are always welcome. The sleepovers were always at my place.
Mhm.
Even though we didn't have the biggest house, we still got to get the sleepovers at my place. So I feel incredibly grateful that they gave me the opportunity to, yeah, to enjoy other people's presence and to share life. At the same time, talking about emotions was not something that we did.
Mhm.
Maybe that has been a generational thing, and I know it has been a relation they've had with their parents that has been different.
Mhm.
And I have always felt a lot of emotions. I feel very deeply, but I was surrounded by people who did not have space to hold those emotions. So for a very long time, I didn't feel heard and seen in depth that I wanted to feel heard and seen by my caretakers.
Yeah.
Eventually, that is one of the things that has probably also led to me building up my emotions, um, and eventually also becoming depressed because I had no idea that you could actually talk about those things.
Uh-huh. Oh,
A lot of people don't, right? So
yeah.
many people don't know how to do that because if nobody teaches you, you don't know.
No, true.
And I was very lucky that I had a girlfriend that I'm still very close with who talks a lot about her emotions.
Mhm.
But she taught me that it's okay to share them. Even the ugliest, darkest, most painful things that you're ashamed of can have a space in this world. And I'm very grateful for her. I could feel my heart be warm when I say this.
Yeah.
Um, that was definitely one of the things that has opened my eyes that you could talk about it for sure. And once I started doing that bit with my other friends, they showed me that I was still lovable even though I had those emotions.
Yeah, it's I think it's important to get recognition. It's not the right word, but confirmation. That was what I was looking for, of the fact that you matter as you are. So it
But
doesn't
the funny
matter
thing is,
the whole package. Let's say.
yeah, yeah. But the funny thing is, I know that my parents will literally die for me. And I know that they care because they went through the whole emotion, me having this emotional awareness where I all of a sudden was throwing everything at them. I was shooting with my emotions and they were hit, which has not always been pretty from my side as well, right? But I think right now, because I did that, because I went through this whole journey, my parents are more open about their emotions and their experiences to me and my sister as well. I remember my mom being in the kitchen and then they just moved to a new place and my grandparents didn't visit them yet for over 6 months. And she was so scared to tell them that that was something that she was longing for. And I told her, just go tell them. You just, be clear and concise and honest about how you feel, respectful, and then it will be fine. And a couple weeks later, we're in the kitchen, and she says, I told your grandparents that I wanted them to come visit, and now they're coming to visit." And she was so happy. So, yeah, I think with this whole experience, I'm still grateful that it happened the way it did, because now I can help others just by modeling what I think you could do.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
I want to take that one step broader, though. Um, so, more in general, what can younger generations teach the older ones beside the technology part? Because what you just shared was a story where you, a younger person, taught your parents, your mother in this case,
Mhm.
to hey, just pick up the phone, or at least tell your parents that you want them to come over, that you actually would like to see them in your new house.
In my case, it's about openness, but I reckon that's also the case with Gen Z in general.
Mhm.
People think Zers are entitled, right? Because they say they want this, they want that, they want the car, they want the
Uh-huh.
3 days off, they want everything.
Yeah, the whole shebang.
The whole shebang, yes. But that's also because they feel the openness to ask.
Mhm.
And this generation is so much more open about talking about mental health issues, for example. So much more because they've seen what the effect is if you don't.
Mhm.
So this is one of those extremes for the balance that we're going back to,
Yeah.
right? Now, the older generation thinks that we're very, very sensitive because we're in that extreme moment of talking about mental health to go back to balance.
Mhm.
So what they can learn is being open about your experience. I do want to say that I think that Gen Z is more open about their communication and what they experience, their emotions, but that does not necessarily imply that they have more empathy towards other people. So they're better at connecting. If you are open to your emotions, you're open to your own experience,
Mhm.
and they say, "Oh, I'm so sad for you to hear that. You deserve so much more, girl. Go get him." Great. That's a good pep talk, but it's still not actively listening to each other. And that's something that the older generation can maybe learn. The younger generation is to be grounded and take time to actively listen so they can really help each other. I think they can complement each other beautifully.
Yeah. That would be sort of the ultimate psychological safe space.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I have a question for you. Let's
And then I
say,
might have an answer for you.
oh, well, I hope so. Because let's say we're 10 years from now.
I'm going to the tunnel. Yes.
Okay. Let's say we're 10 years from now, and AI has indeed made us more human. What does the world look like?
Wow, this is going to sound like a utopia. But in 10 years, if we are more connected, because that's what I want to do with AI, right? That's
Hmm?
what it's going to do.
Yeah.
That's what making more human is. I think we become more adaptable and understanding towards ourselves. So I already gave you a few examples politically, economically, etc.
Hmm.
I think politically, this could mean that we're focusing more on global collaboration Economically, technology gives us a lot of space to focus on what truly matters because we're still productive anyways. And culturally, empathy, diversity, and inclusion are going to become more core values. And eventually, all together, if you're more connected, we're coming back to the essence of why we're alive. I don't remember who said this, but somebody said, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to enjoy the passage of time. And I firmly believe that we can enjoy the passage of time so much more if we're connected.
Amen. Yeah, that's the only thing I can say. So I'm on a mission
Yes.
to close the gender funding gap based on your work and based on your experience. What is one move that is needed to get there, or what is
Now, this is the
it?
question about inclusion.
Yeah.
So, this is going to sound very anticlimactic, but I think we should dare to sit still.
But then we get bored.
Well, we don't necessarily have to get bored because if you dare to sit still, you dare to be introspective. You dare to look inside. Going back to the accountability, for example, that we're talking about,
Mhm.
going back to daring to say it, showing the example. You need to know who you are to make space to have empathy for other people. You need to understand that it's connect to them, but you do that from a place from connection with yourself. And the goal is, yes, to have inclusion, but you don't just want to be included based on being a woman or Black or anything else. You want to be included because it's you. Inclusion comes from being included for being yourself. And I think by being ourselves, connection to that person, connecting to each other, we can get there.
Thank you.
You're
And
very
again,
welcome.
amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Anouk
Yeah.
Vlietman, thanks for an amazing conversation.
I'm sad that it's over.
Yeah,
We could have talked for hours.
we could, well, we've talked for hours in the past, and we should do
We
some,
did. Yes.
do that in the future again,
Mm.
definitely, on or off the podcast. If people want to learn more about you, and if people want to go to your TED Talk or learn how it went, where would you like to send them?
LinkedIn. I will send them to LinkedIn. Yes. And follow me before so you can join the podcast and the TEDx.
Yeah. So, and we'll include those links in the show notes.
Amazing.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also for opening up about your perspective.
Well, you're more than welcome. That's I think in this case, I can safely say that this was also due to how you communicate. So thanks for
Mm.
being a really beautiful person.
Oh, don't make me cry.
Nah, okay. So, listeners, thank you very much for listening. And until the next episode, keep being awesome. Well, that's it for episode 118 of Women Disrupting Tech with Anouk Vlietman, titled How AI Can Make Us More Human. Anouk and I hope that you found our conversation as thought-provoking and human as we intended it to be. And if you have any questions for Anouk, please leave them in the comments on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. I'll make sure you'll receive an answer. If you want to connect with Anouk or learn more about her company UMAIN, please check out the links in the show notes. And as usual, you can find the show notes at womendisruptingtech.blog. And the link is also in the description. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, please consider leaving a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leaving a rating or a review helps new listeners find the podcast and supports my guests by giving them a bigger platform. If you are a regular listener, please make sure to follow Women Disrupting Tech on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, or YouTube. Following us is a simple, zero-cost way to support Anouk and my other guests in making inclusion in tech the new normal by the end of 2032. For more about Women Disrupting Tech, please follow the podcast on social media. You can follow us everywhere as @Women Disrupting Tech, and you can also follow us on Substack. On Substack, you'll find in-depth stories and behind-the-scenes insights for each episode, plus trends that I've spotted across 100+ conversations. So don't forget to subscribe to Substack for more Women Disrupting Tech. Finally, if you'd like to connect with me directly, please reach out via email dirkjan@womendisruptingtech.blog or simply connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Dirk-Jan Hupkes, and you'll find me. With that, I wish you a wonderful day. I hope to see you in the next episode. And until then, as always, keep being awesome.